Woof bitches, welcome to the episode 7 of Muttley's musical Musings, 40th anniversary edition. July is my 40th birthday, so end of this month, July 26th, by the time this goes out, it'll be my birthday. So I thought, what better way to celebrate my 40th than go through my music collection and find all my albums that came out in 1980. Quite often you'll get expanded editions, 30th, expanded editions, 40th. So I'm going to run through, there's quite a few. There'll be a couple of honourable mentions of albums that don't have physical copies but still have the digital versions. So we're going to get started. We're going to go through in chronological order because I'm nerdy and awkward, and that made sense to my autistic brain. So we're going to start off in January, the somethingth. It doesn't specifically say, but we've got UFO. I've got a nice box set of UFO, so we will go through that at some point later. But for now, UFO, you've got No Place to Run. That came out January 1980, so I don't know if they've got plans for a special edition that's come out at some point this year. So that's the first album. They're a good band. I actually got to see them, and the box set is signed by 3 of the members that are on the box set. So I was a bit of a jemmy git and got one of the security guards to nip back stage for me and got that signed. I was there for about 2 hours after the show, but totally worth it. Moving on to February the 14th, which you all know is Valentine's Day. So we got a Valentine's Day album with Heart, with Be Lestrange. I love Heart. Fantastic band. If they ever tour the UK, I'm totally going to see them. Pardon the light behind, repositioned stuff, and I'm not waiting until tonight to film. Anyway, moving on, we got some Iggy Pop with one of his albums, Soldier. I can't show you the album itself because that's still sealed box set. I bought a box set, and with Amazon, you might note that you can sometimes get digital versions for free. So you've got Iggy Pop, Soldier, which is that middle one there. Quite enjoying his music. I hadn't really heard it much before until I bought it earlier this year. I mean, as you all know, I'm trying to have enough music that I can play it, push play, and it just lasts for an entire year without a song repeating. That's 11,680 albums because, again, I'm autistic and I'm a nerd and I did the maths. So we're going through what I've got so far. I've got about 820 albums on average. Some of those are EPs, some of those are singles, some of those are expanded albums. But anyway, I've got about 617 hours of music. I need a shit ton more than that. Anyway, we've got some Stiff Little Fingers coming up next with their album Nobody's Heroes. Stiff Little Fingers, they brought that out March the 7th. You already know the year, 1980. I quite like that. It looks like one of those things you go like that on your phone and you see something, but I don't see anything special. So I might try and troll people later on the Book of Faces with that. Angel Witch coming up now. Now, I talked about anniversary editions. This is the 30th anniversary edition of Angel Witch's self-titled album, and that came out on March the 12th. I really like Angel Witch. They got some fantastic songs. Part of the new wave of British heavy metal. I've got some more of that to feature later. If you don't know what that is, it's late 70s, early 80s. Well worth a look. Going on to, again, March the 12th, we've got some Van Halen for you. That's a really good album. And that came out, I told you, March the 12th. I quite enjoy Van Halen. The earlier stuff's quite cool. It's got a really nice crunchy sound to it. Now we're getting to some more well-known stuff and some classic albums. And we've got a Judas Priest classic. You should know what it is. April the 14th. British Steel. I'm supposed to be seeing Judas Priest opening for Ozzy, but I think he's jinxed it. As you all know, he's had some health problems. Which is a shame, and he named his tour No More Tours, and so far that has been the fact. It's been postponed at least thrice now, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Ozzy and Judas Priest opening. That's going to be a cracking show in London when it finally happens. I'll say when, because he's going to get better and he's going to tour more. Alice Cooper, that came out April the 28th. I didn't tell you when British Steel came out, did I? I did. I'm chatting shit, which is the whole point of this. Flush the fashion. I saw Alice Cooper last year live. Absolutely fantastic. He had the guillotine on set, which cut his head off. You haven't lived, that's a rite of passage. Alice Cooper, you have to go to an Alice Cooper show. One of the original, puts on a whole stage production type thing. Really enjoyable show. Then we got Foghat. I got a nice box set of Foghat at some point when I started doing this mission of owning all of the music, every single one. And you got Tight Shoes by Foghat. That came out in May 28th. Again, Foghat have got some cool songs like Fool for the City, which I don't know is on this album or not, but they're worth checking out. They're proper American rock from the 70s. You know that sort of stuff. Anyway, we've gone on to one of my favourite bands now, Whitesnake. This is featured before. This featured in the 1st of April edition. Again, I mentioned and I messed it up, so I will do it right this time. You have got Ian Pace there. I know that's him because it's got the glasses. And then you've got John Lord because of the sunglasses. I know how to tell them all apart now. Fantastic album. It's got some proper classics on there. Obviously, Fool for Your Lovin'. I got to see Bernie Marsden, who I'm pretty sure was on this as well. Bernie Marsden's an amazing guitarist, so I got to see him. He played, I think it was Love Hunter in all its glory, and he featured a few tracks from this. So this came out, obviously, 1980 again. I'm trying to read the list here. May the 31st, that came out. It's one of their better albums from the early era. I love early Whitesnake. I prefer it to the later, more hair metal-y stuff. It was a lot more crunchy, bluesy sound. You've got quite a few songs came out from the early era that were re-released. I prefer the originals. Anyway, let's stop waffling and try and get on with this. You got Blue Oyster Cult with Cultosaurus erectus. Now, I love that album cover. I'm trying to hide the sunlight. That is a fantastic looking cover. And that came out in June the 14th. We've got quite a few 14ths. There was no March the 14th, was there? Because you all know what special day that is, guys. Anyway, moving on. You got Girl School with their debut album, Demolition. I saw Girl School for their, again, they featured in an earlier edition for the February 14th because they did their St. Valentine's Day Massacre tour. And for those of you who don't know, St. Valentine's Day Massacre is an EP they released with none other than Lemmy, who will feature later. Bless his soul. So yeah, Girl School, that came out on June the 30th. So we're getting kind of closer to my birthday. And we can see what happened. You got Crocus with Metal Rendezvous. Fantastic. I'm supposed to be seeing them. I'm still up in arms, or not up in arms, because I don't mind, up in the air, whether I cancel the ticket, because it's been cancelled a few times. Crocus are touring with Girl School and Diamond Head and Saxon. That is going to be an epic show if and when it eventually happens. Unfortunately, because of the COVID situation, that's another show that's been cancelled. I missed out on Whitesnake. I was supposed to see them earlier this year. Yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, moving along, you got Steve Hackett. Those of you who are on my Facebook, not the Muttley's Musical Musings Facebook, my own Facebook, this featured in the last few days, this album. I do a random album for the day. Basically, I stick my whole collection on Media Player, press random, and the first album to come up, that's a random album for the day. So you've got Steve Hackett with Defector. That came out in June the something. Wikipedia won't tell me, so we don't know when that is. We've got another box set here, so we can't see specifically the album necessarily, but you got Scream Dream by Ted Nugent, and I will try and zoom in on it. There, you can't see, it's the end one there. If you can't see it, just have a look on the Facebook. No, Wikipedia. that's a better option. Anyway, it's another box set. It's sealed. It was bought on Amazon. I need to switch to where I buy some of my stuff and support some of the local record shops. But yeah, that's a Ted Nugent box set I got earlier just because I was curious to see what he sounded like. You won't go too far in depth into him. Jeff Beck. I love Jeff Beck. I'm a new recent convert. Had to listen to him again. It's off a box set, and I liken a lot of his stuff actually to Joe Satriani, who some of you may know if you've seen me on Facebook or whatever. My all-time favorite guitarist. Got to meet him in 2018. He loved the hat. He thought that was quite amusing, and he signed some stuff for me as well. That was 3.5 hours of just all of the guitars. It was Joe Satriani, John Petrucci, and Uli John Roth, and that was fantastic meeting the three of them. Anyway, you got Jeff Beck there and back again. If you like Joe Satriani style guitar, totally worth checking out. Anyway, I've rambled enough. That came out on June the something as well. So a lot of albums seem to have come out on June the something, including the next one. It must have been a popular date, June the something. You've got Blackfoot. Again, I've only recently got into them the last 6 months or so. Again, it was a box set. Incredible band, incredible album, and that came out on June the something as well. Now we're moving on to July, and I've only got one album for July, and that came out on July the 25th. We'll also touch on that. It was the day before my birthday. It's not Metallica, and it's not Spinal Tap. It's AC/DC, Back in Black. Obviously, Bon Scott died a few months earlier in 1980. We lost quite a few good artists in 1980. I think John Lennon was shot by Carole King in 1980. Those of you who know what I'm talking about there will get that. Anyway, AC/DC's Back in Black, that came out on July 25th. Again, it's sealed because I bought it online, and sometimes I give you the digital versions, so it's nice. I don't like opening them because I like to keep them protected if I can. I've got a shelf over there full of CDs. I've worked out I need 11.5 meters of wall space to fit all the CDs in. Again, I did maths based on what I've got, averages. Anyway, you probably just want to hear the albums. I try to talk about them if I have, because sometimes I'll only listen to an album once because there's a lot there, and then I just put everything else on random for the day. I'm supposed to be listening to the radio to my friend Tommy Lambert on a radio station. I'm going to put that link in the description to apologise to him for messing him about by not tuning in yet. But that's like a rock station, it's well worth listening to. So I'll put that below. You got Yes. Yeah, that's a fantastic band. I love my prog, as I may have mentioned. So you got Drama. I'm not a fan of Drama by any means, but that came out in August on the 18th. Yeah, I really need to sort out a backdrop or a green screen or something. Eventually that will happen. You got Tigers of Pangtan coming up next, August 23rd. It looks like it's their first album, came out in 1980. Again, it's a box set. That's a nice box set too. I'm loving the artwork. I can't show you the album because it's got a sticker on the back covering it, but look on Wikipedia if you want to see what the album cover looks like, but it's there. And that came out, I did tell you, August the 23rd. I'm starting to lose the thread a little bit. I'm trying to lean in so we can stop the sunlight. So yeah, I'm giving you a sneak peek. Jethro Tull, August the 29th, his album A. I really like Jethro Tull. I don't know what to make of it, but I like it. It's different. It's got some nice flute parts on it. I remember a mate when we were in school gave my older sister, because she played the flute, some Jethro Tull, and I think it was the album with Thick as a Brick and what have you. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it. I've got 2 box sets of him because obviously I want to get every studio album, and that's a lot of his albums, their albums. Anyway, moving on, we got some Ozzy now. I mentioned earlier I was hoping to see Ozzy. We've got his debut album when he was a solo artist, which came out on September 20th, and that's Blizzard of Oz. It's got obviously the big ones like Crazy Train on it. We all should know that song by now. Yeah, that's he did some interesting artwork. Anyway, I really do hope that he does tour again, because seeing the interviews and stuff is quite sad, in the sense that it's what he lives for, and having something taken from you is not nice. I've been there. Moving on from that, trying to be more positive. Again, September the something. Molly Hatchet beating the odds. They seem to have the same character on a lot of their artwork. It's not a Minotaur. It's a guy with a Viking helmet. Anyway, September the something that come out, and now we've got these are in an odd order. We've got some more. No, we got October the 3rd. We've got 2 albums come out. We've got Diamond Head there. It looks like it's signed. It's the way it was printed. The white album, Lightning to the Nations. Metallica covered the big one, Am I Evil? I've seen Diamond Head, and I'm hoping to see them again when they tour Saxon. Diamond Head opened for Uriah Heep just before Christmas Bean, and that was incredible. Their new singer, or most recent singer, is amazing. He's still got it on the guitar. Really enjoyed seeing them open for the Heap. Then we go on to the Police, and that is Zenyatta Mondata. I've got every Police album plus a bonus album in a lovely looking box set. So that's them completed at Mate, if you remember the In-Betweeners. Yeah, I've got all of their albums finally in one foul swoop. And that came out, again, same day as Diamond Head's album. Then we got some Gillan. I'm hoping you all know who Ian Gillan is, of Deep Purple fame, and he did an album with Black Sabbath. But during the 80s, when Richie threw his toys out of the cot, in late 70s, early 80s, before they got back together again, he had his own band. It was the Ian Gillan Band, and then he had his own band simply titled Gillan, and there you've got Glory Road. Apparently it had quite some success. I quite like the sound. I quite enjoy Ian's vocals. So we're going on to something you should all know now. That came out in October the something. And then November the 8th, we had Lemmy with the album of albums. We should all recognise that, and we all know the title track, Ace of Spades. It's probably their biggest single. Fantastic band. May they all rest in peace. Thank God all original 3 are no longer with us. Moving on to, this is featured on my Facebook page, not my private one, the Facebook page linked to this. High Infidelity, my baby sister bought me that. She is a star. She knew I didn't have any Rio Speedwagon. She loves this album and said, have a listen, you will like it. And she was right. That came out on November 21st. And we're coming up to the final album. We've got nothing for December, but November the something, Alan Parsons Project. It's from a box set. Turn over friendly card. My favourite track off there is probably Games People Play. It is amazing. I've got, like I said, it's from a box set. I've got all of Alan Parsons Project albums. They are a fantastic band. Anyway, I did say honourable mentions. I've got 2 albums that came out in 1980 that I don't have physical copies of, unfortunately. One was lost, and that was Black Sabbath with my favourite album, Heaven and Hell. What an album. Just wow. I can't really say much more than that. And that came out at some point in 1980. It was much earlier in the year. And I really like that album. So unfortunately I don't have a physical copy, but I've got a digital version. The physical copy got lost. And then the other honourable mention from my collection is Def Leppard's On Through the Night. I love the Willis and Clark era. All their early stuff was a lot more heavy, and as I mentioned before, new wave of British heavy metal. I forgot to mention Diamond Head were part of that, so were Tigers of Pantang, and Def Leppard were, believe it or not. But Willis and Clark, they had a heavier sound, a crunchier sound. They sounded fantastic. It's got some brilliant songs on it. The reason why I don't have a physical copy of that is me and my stupidity. This is before you could use Google Pay on your phone to pay for stuff at shops. I thought you could put 50 quid on it and then my phone wouldn't pay. Luckily, I wasn't in the shop when I found that out. So I'm like, shit, what do I do? So I was just like, fuck it. Let's just buy a load of Def Leppard, because I haven't got any albums at the time by bands starting with the letter D. So I will buy some Def Leppard because it has to be added at some point. So that's the honourable mentions. Obviously, there's loads of bands and albums I haven't mentioned that I want. Feel free to help me out there by pointing them out, or have a mention in below some other albums you think could have featured on this list that I don't own. Obviously, so that's why they weren't mentioned, but they will get there. So yes, happy birthday to me on July 26th, and don't forget, people, love and sausages. Woof.